Allow me to introduce myself.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's Larry Streeter, CEO of KS Media. I'm an accomplishment junkie. Today, I have a topic, and the topic is, should you do work for exposure? Meaning, exposure being your compensation for services that you provide. And in order to get into that, I want to first kind of define a little bit what, in my opinion, exposure is. I think that exposure is first getting your work out there for as many people to see as possible. That way, your work sells itself, it speaks for itself, and in turn, you begin to get business from that. So let's kind of get into it. Should you do work for exposure? If you're a new entrepreneur or experienced, you either have or are going to experience situations where people are going to approach you and say, hey, I can't afford to pay you cash, but you will get exposure. And let's kind of, get into that a little bit. If someone's offering you exposure, that usually means that they're going to shout you out on social media, shout you out at an event, and basically kind of give you advertisement to get your name out there, just as you might see a billboard on the side of the road. They're telling you that, or promising you that, by you doing services or providing services for them, you will get something better than cash, which is advertisement from them. And that's fine. So let's get into that, and my opinion on it, and what I've experienced and what I went through doing these type of situations. Well, they're different kind of people. If someone's telling you that, hey, I'm going to give you exposure, and you don't have any exposure, meaning no one knows about you, it's definitely essential that you do work where you're not going to get paid all the time in the beginning stages of your development. And not even in the beginning stages, it's always a good idea to expose yourself more and more as you expand, and never lose that hunger that you had in the beginning when you did do things for free. So what's the right kind of exposure and what's the wrong kind of exposure? Which exposure is most productive, and which exposure is in a way counterproductive? Well, when it comes to exposure, and meaning that, in my opinion, that's getting your work out there for as many people to see as possible, I think that sometimes loyalty can prohibit your exposure in reality. And that depends on who you're providing these services for. So there are some people who say, hey, I'm going to give you exposure, and they do just that. You go, you do services for them, and they go out their way to be sure that as many people know about you as possible, because they're appreciative and they're grateful that you decided to work with them and provide free, valuable services for them that they would have to pay, lots of money out of their pocket for. And they go out their way, if you're at an event, they shout you out. They shout you out across social media. And you also begin to get, references from those persons. They refer you to other people that will pay you. I've been in those type of situations where I've done work for people, and And often, I have people calling me like, hey, such and such gave me your number. He said that you were a good videographer. So I do video production. So in my case, you do good video work. Or say you're a makeup artist, they'll say you do great makeup. Say you're a designer, they say you do great design. Say you do events, they say you do, so if you're getting that over time from that person, then you're in the right place, you're helping out the right person, and you're really getting exposure. So let's go a little deeper on exposure. If you're really out there to get exposure, because there are going to be times when someone's going to tell you they're going to give you exposure, you're not going to get any shout outs, there's going to be, they're not going to acknowledge you as they said that they would. So in those situations, what do? Well, before you even go into a situation, you want to prepare yourself to, if you're going to be going into a situation expecting exposure, you want to make sure that you get the exposure whether they give it to you or not. And this is how you do that. You want to brand yourself as far as you want to wear your logo. If you're in a situation where you're going to be around a lot of people, you want to maximize your exposure. So that way, if you're not getting what you were promised or what you expected going into the situation, you at least present yourself in a way that people notice you and you stand out and you get the exposure you need, and that people see the work that you did. In my case, it's a little easier because I could just throw on a t-shirt or a shirt and with my logo on it, and if I'm moving around in an event, people will see me. They will see my logo, so that helps me. And the finished product, when I put it out there, people see that. So my work kind of speaks for itself. Even if I'm not getting the exposure promised to me or that I might have expected for doing a favor. So that's another way you want to protect yourself and make sure that things that you do benefit you. So another level of that. Now, when it comes to exposure, that means getting yourself out there in front of as many people as possible. So I would suggest that starting out that you work with multiple people, because what ends up happening is you'll learn, which I had to learn the hard way, is that you dedicate your time to one person because you're loyal, or one company, organization in particular, and you dedicate yourself to them, and you are pretty much doing most of your work building a portfolio of this one-dimensional situation. You get it? So it's like you're not testing your range, you're just, I'm building my portfolio and I'm being loyal to this person. But is that really exposure? Is that really, even if, let's say that this person is doing everything in their power to expose you to as many people as they possibly can. Think about that. That's just one person exposing you to as many people as they possibly can. Just like you met that person and you were able to connect and get exposure there, you want to connect with other people as well, and you want to diversify your portfolio, meaning you want to do different types of, put yourself in different type of situations and put yourself in front of as many people as possible. So you don't want to work, without compensation, meaning financial payment from one person, because you're going to basically be spinning your wheels in one place and only reaching one particular audience, and that's that particular client audience that you're doing this work for this exposure. So the more people you reach out to and do work for that you believe in, that you see yourself going in your career as whatever your brand represents, you want to go in that direction. Say you're into fashion, so you don't want to just work with one fashion show producer. You want to work with multiple fashion show producers, because you're going to put yourself out there to more people, because different fashion designers target different demographics. So that's definitely a good thing to keep in mind, is that if you keep doing this exposure payment like type of work for one particular brand, then you're not really maximizing your exposure. Regardless of how much they're putting you out there, you're still not. And if you decide to like work with others and you feel as if they didn't appreciate you, then think about that. You could have been working for that person for the long term, and at the end of the day, you just kind of wasted your time because they only appreciated you because you were doing free work for them. So you wanna be really careful when you're doing work for exposure. Make the exposure situations work for you. So make it clear when you're doing work for someone and say, hey, I eventually plan on seeing growth and eventually getting paid for my services, and I'm in my learning process. I would love to work with you, do a job for you just to expand my portfolio. It may be one time, it may be twice, I don't know, but I just want to expand my portfolio. Can you help me with that? So that way you set the expectation, and they're not expecting you to, you're not joining, you're not their employee. A lot of times that happens, but people think like, oh, well, you work for them now. For exposure, you work for them and you're part of their quote unquote team, and if you're looking to develop on your own, your own brand, then you want to avoid becoming a part of something that is you're using as a vehicle for your growth. So that's my take on should you work for exposure. The answer to that question is yes, you should, and you should never stop working for exposure. You should always continue to diversify and continue to grow, because the more people that you work with, the wider your portfolio is going to be, the more experience you're going to have to make yourself better in whatever field that you're in. If you do events, you want to do different types of events. You want to see what works and what doesn't. If you're a stylist, you want to do makeup you want to do hair or makeup, whatever it is you do. You want to do that for different industries and see what you like and see what works and what doesn't. Yeah, that's just my take on should you work for exposure. And again, y'all, it's the Accomplishment Junkie. Success is not a destination, it's a lifestyle. Find joy in doing productive things to build your brand. All right, y'all, till next time.